Growing maturely in the midst of pain and suffering. Pain is an inevitable part of life, and it can be difficult to cope with. Growing maturely in the midst of pain requires a combination of resilience, self-awareness, and self-care. Resilience is the ability to cope with and adapt to difficult situations. It is a key factor in growing maturely in the midst of pain. One way to develop resilience is to practice self-reflection. Taking the time to reflect on our experiences can help us to better understand our emotions and reactions to pain. This can help us to develop a better understanding of ourselves and our own needs. Additionally, it can help us to identify patterns in our behavior that may be hindering our growth. Another way to develop resilience is to practice positive self-talk. When we are faced with difficult situations, it can be easy to become overwhelmed by negative thoughts and emotions. Practicing positive self-talk can help us to reframe our thoughts and focus on the positive aspects of the situation. This can help us to stay focused on our goals and keep moving forward despite the pain we may be feeling. Developing self-awareness is another important factor in growing maturely in the midst of pain. Self-awareness involves understanding our own emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. It also involves understanding how our actions affect others. One way to develop self-awareness is to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness involves being present in the moment and paying attention to our thoughts and feelings without judgment. This can help us to gain insight into our own behavior and reactions to difficult situations. Another way to develop self-awareness is to practice self-compassion. Self-compassion involves treating ourselves with kindness and understanding when we are faced with difficult situations. It can help us to recognize our own strengths and weaknesses, as well as our own limitations. Practicing self-compassion can also help us to be more understanding and forgiving of ourselves when we make mistakes or fail at something. Growing maturely in the midst of pain requires a combination of resilience, self-awareness, and self-care. Developing resilience involves practicing self-reflection and positive self-talk. Developing self-awareness involves practicing mindfulness and self-compassion. By taking the time to develop these skills, we can better cope with difficult situations and grow maturely in the midst of pain.